overlooking the small. So, the trivial things that are happening around us that we take for granted. Are we overlooking those seemingly trivial situations, events? It's not just about seeing something small, it is about how we see the world. That ability to see the world in a large scale, in the big vision, is as important as it is to see the tiniest. Here you can imagine this concept of microcosm and macrocosm. To see this huge cosmos and universe, a cell in every body is very important. For example, I set an alarm, I snooze it, seemingly very small, insignificant event. But what is that indicating? Is something we need to ponder upon. We look at big things. I want to be very successful. I want to be having a great name, fame, um, property, prosperity, big peace, whatever. We have those big dreams. But then to achieve those big dreams, these very tiny practices become very important. I cannot overlook these small things. Especially when you work with setting goals, right? We set a long-term goal, like 10-year goal, lifetime goal. Then we divide it up into a year goal, then a monthly goal, and then a daily goal. And within a day, my small practices that I do, like not snoozing the alarm, or whenever I thought about setting an alarm at 4, for example, then 4 the alarm goes off. I say it's too early. I do not want to, there's nothing really to do. Or I snooze it. So why did I think that setting at 4 was important when I set it? And holding that thought until when it rings at 4 a.m. is important. That is where I need to not overlook small things or seemingly small things. We let our children go to school and we have big aims. We are operating out of fear. What if they don't do well in the school? They cannot get into a good college and no good education later on, then all the repercussions thereof. But then can I look at now, at today, before the child goes to school? What will enable the child to pay attention and learn at school? It's not about just providing good school and sending them by an air-conditioned bus and having them a tutor who will train them after they come back home, or even I sit with them for hours demanding that they do. That is not, that is seemingly small, but if I'm ignoring it, the daily practices, then the repeated experiences that children have that my parents are not present, my parents are outsourcing me, someone else is coming and tutoring me, then I start having, then as a child I begin to develop my own coping mechanisms, my own way to manage these demands on me which I'm not able to manage. As a child, I'm still growing up. I do not have all those capacities, but I need to manage. So that is when it becomes a little tricky. Overlooking the small is something I need to pay attention to on everything that I do eventually. Everything that I do in a day must be very purposeful. I cannot be mindlessly roaming around. That's a tall call. But then that is where I need to be doing. Right? I cannot move around my entire day assuming that things will work out just fine based on that belief or the dream that I have. It would work provided my every practice is aligned with that goal. The question is, am I aligned? Typically, you see in the families, the big fights in the families are not about big things. They're typically about all the silly things that if you happen to go to a therapist and you tell them, I don't like the way they place their toothpaste like this, I don't like the way they put their towels like this. It's seemingly very, very trivial. And somewhere there, I cannot overlook those trivials. See, I am a hypocrite. Some things I overlook, and some things I cannot overlook, however trivial. Now, I need to question that within me. What is that happening within me that is making me overlook or overcome? Right? So, I need to develop that discrimination between what I should overlook and what I should overcome. So, keep pondering upon it. When you see a child ignoring small habits and small practices, that is where I need to spend time when the children are young. Until about 8, 9 years of age, I need to build those habits consistently every single day, right? Especially when we are trying to create that rhythm at home. I have to do it. And then once the habits are set, that's where when there is a wet towel on dining table, I just cannot tolerate it because that was the conditioning I had as a child that you need to hang wet towels on the rack. That is how my parents trained me, that is how it happened in my family, or because of inconveniences, I built that up. So that is possibility as well. So questioning it, I will understand why I cannot tolerate that towel. But then it is coming in as a habit. Now, if you pause and say, what's going to happen if the towel is sitting right there on the table all day long? What happens? So then you get into maybe it's inconvenient, it will look awkward, and you kind of resolve it. Similarly, you got to go through everything, especially the important ones if I'm overlooking, if I'm just assuming that things will happen. This happens both with teachers and parents. They say they have these class rules, especially in a school setup, and we read it out. You have to come to school on time, you have to bring all your work, you cannot make noise, you have to walk in the class, blah blah blah. And then children are children, they keep doing whatever they have to do. And the teachers complain, we told them their class rules, we have put it up on the wall, we read it every day, but children still don't listen to it, still don't follow it. So it is not about telling once and expecting us to learn it instantly. Neither did we learn anything like that. It took practice. It took everyday reminders. It had to become a habit. Very much like when I go to a temple, I take my footwear out of the temple is a habit because everyone is doing it. And somebody told me, if not my parents, someone walking into the temple said you cannot go with the footwear. So it was like the community taking it's the community habit. Very powerful. So that community can be my family. If I set an alarm, I have to wake up. I may not feel like it, but just because I set it, I will wake up. And then you will see, the drama that's going on within me. So tomorrow when I have to reset that alarm, I will think, do I really want to get up at 4? I had real difficulty, but then I'll justify. Yesterday I slept a little too late, or I had bad dreams, and I woke up in between. That's why I couldn't wake up at 4. So I will keep it at 4 and wake up today at 4. So we go on with that. So we might get up, but we might snooze again. So I cannot overlook that. go back, rethink, change it, and maybe you will set it up at 4:30 and experiment with it. It's not like do or done. It's not like one time set in stone and we have to abide by it. This is all trial and error. We keep working on it. That brings in the flexibility. Yet not giving up. We are persistent but flexible. So that gives children a hope that okay, the environment around me is flexible. We are allowed to try. So it becomes easier for the child. And that is how we build it up slowly, one thing at a time. So just begin observing which ones are you overlooking? Which trivial activities are we sacrificing for the big lofty dreams? We understand cell by cell is what makes up our body. Every cell is as important as the body is. And if I don't pay attention to the cell, chances are my body is not going to be as healthy, right? So think about it. It works both ways. We have bottom up approach. We also have top down. It's not that every cell is very healthy physically, but then my mental space is all messed up. Typically you see that with adults with Alzheimer's. They're very strong, very capable, but they're forgetful. They're losing it, and then it's so difficult to handle that adult. So it has to be both bottom up and top down, and the balance between the two is what I need to be paying attention to on everyday basis. So think about it.